Hey, good evening, my friends. Today I'm gonna say you something about the edema. So, defining edema, it is the accumulation of the water in the interstitial space, which is extracellular space. If there is the excessive amount of the water in the extracellular space, it is defined as the edema. Whereas there is another definition which we should not forget, which is anasarca. So anasarca we define is like the edema of the total body. If there is edema in the total body, then we can say it is anasarca. So saying something about the edema, we must consider two kind of the pressure that acts on the blood vessels. These two pressures are oncotic pressure, which is formed by the immunoglobulins or the proteins in the blood, which is the major force that derives the water from outside to the inside of the blood vessels. And another one is hydrostatic pressure, which is created by the water in the capillaries that always tries to tends to push the water from the blood lumen outside into the interstitial space. So there must be a, a equal, well balanced condition between these two forces in order to maintain the edema, or in order to avoid the edema in the body, which is very important. So the body must have a well electrolyte balance, the well amount of the water, and the well quantity of the proteins in the plasma. If there is a lack of plasma proteins, which takes place in the liver failure, because liver, it secretes the huge amount of the proteins, especially immunoglobulins, which is responsible for the oncotic pressure. It may take place when we drink excessive water. Like if we take excessive water, then we might have an edema as well. It takes place when there is a renal failure, when the kidney cannot function well. It takes place like in the acute renal failure and a chronic renal failure. So the urine is not formed, and is a compensatory mechanism. The water is pushed out of the blood capillaries into the interstitial space. So these are some of the concepts that we must not forget about edema. Once again, I'm gonna say, so edema is formed because of the disbalance between the hydrostatic pressure and the oncotic pressure. If the hydrostatic pressure is more, the water is pushed out of the capillaries into the interstitial space. If the oncotic pressure is less, the water from the interstitial space cannot be taken it back into the lumen, and due to the decrease in the osmotic pressure because of the lack of proteins. Mm, it takes place in the organ failures like renal diseases, hepatic failure, uh, and so on. So edema is the main cause. The basic treatment we do for the edema is like we give diuretics, because diuretics helps in removing the water from as a urine. So we must monitor a well balance between the electrolytes and these two factors. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.